Most of what is stopping you from achieving your goals, your dreams, the things that you want in this life, the biggest thing holding you back is in fact the stories in your head. The stories we create about why we can't do this, why this is difficult, why now isn't a good time, why you need to do something else. Everything is within your capacity. It's within your control. The problem is that you have stories up here about why it can't be you, or why that person has the things that you don't want. Especially if we're talking health, fitness, physique, body, these kinds of things. Oh, he can do it because he has the genetics, or the time, or the money, or the opportunities, or all these kinds of things. Instead of looking at them and going, well, what did they do? What can I learn from them? Most of the time, the assumptions are made on those without ever examining the person. It's just easier to create this story in your head as to why you can't have it, why they are different from you, and why it's not your fault. It's the stories between ourselves that we like to repeat, that we run on the loudspeaker in our head, that prevent us from doing the things that need to be done. Remember, the hardest day and the greatest day in your life is the day that you realize that your life is 100% your fault. It is all your fault. As I said, it's a hard day. It's a big, big pill to swallow. One that we want to avoid because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to face that truth. But on the flip side of that is, well, if it's all your fault, that's fantastic. Because if it's all your fault, it means it's well within your capacity to fix it all as well. See, when it's someone else's fault, when you pass the buck, when you lay it at someone else's feet, well then you abdicate your responsibility. You pull yourself back and you go, well, it's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. So what am I supposed to do? And, well, that's the biggest coward thing you could do. The truth of the matter is that you have to take responsibility for all of it, no matter what the situation is, because until you take responsibility for everything, you can't change anything. As I said, laying the blame at someone else's feet, even if that might be the truth, blaming someone else means you have no control. It's not your fault. You can't change it. See that story running through your brain? See that story going round and round? Well, the truth of the matter is that you need to tell a different story. You need to create your own narrative. It's like the one I talk about all the time. Your life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. I find having children the greatest and most eye-opening one into our own narratives, our own stories, our own habits, how we live our lives, how we respond to things. There is nothing I find more humbling than having your own things parroted back to you. And you have to then examine and go, are these valuable things? Are they serving me? Are they good enough to continue passing along to my children? Because remember, monkey see, monkey do. Part of the reason why I'm here, part of the reason I'm making these life choices, part of the reasons I'm doing these things is, well, because my children are the greatest gift that I have ever been given in this life. And I intend to do the best fucking job I can to raise them, to be the best version of myself I can be for them. Because I can say all the things, I can jump up and down, and I can tell them this is how it is. But we all know that most of it is picked up subconsciously. Those little sponge brains are just absorbing it. I can talk a big game, but at the end of the day, they're going to mimic back the walk I'm walking. And that's a really, really important one. And one of the ones that I'm trying to pass along to my daughter at the moment is, and as I said, this is the great mirror holding up to me, and one that I need to personally work on myself, and one that is part of building this program and building Demanding Greatness is trying to learn these skills myself. But because I want to pass it along to her, well, as well as my son. But she's learning it at the moment. And the biggest one is that you're choosing to feel this way. So it comes back to those stories in our head. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with having the emotions. There's nothing wrong with big emotions and big feelings. But we have the discussion of you are choosing to feel this way. You're choosing to get upset over things that don't matter. You're choosing to throw tantrums over not getting your way. You're choosing these feelings that make you sad, that make you angry, that make you uncomfortable, that make you upset. You can quite easily turn around and choose not to be happy about a situation that doesn't go your way. But you don't have to get sad or irate about it. Instead, what you can choose is how you respond to it. How could we change it? How could we make a different outcome? She's 4. So obviously these things are going over her head. But we're already starting to get the concept. And if I can ingrain these ones into her, that there's nothing wrong with being sad, but it's your choice to stay sad. It's your choice to stay frustrated. It's your choice to stay angry. There's nothing wrong with emotions. But if you don't like the emotions, same as if you don't like your life, make a different choice. There's this concept that your feelings, your stories, these kind of things are just there and they're thrust upon you. No, we have choice. We are the one piloting this meat suit. We are the ones who are allowed to then make different decisions. Does that mean you'll never get angry? Does that mean you'll never get sad? Does that mean there will never be situations that upset you or frustrate you? No. Of course they're still going to be there. That's fucking life. But the question becomes then, how do you respond to it? Instead of saying that these feelings dominate me and I am because they are, I have these feelings. Now I'm going to choose what to do with them. Now I'm going to choose how I process them. We are in control. As I said, the greatest day of your life and the hardest day of your life is the day you realize that it is all your fault, because you are in control. You choose how you respond to the situations. Have a life that you don't like, you can sit and sulk and blame others, or you can step up, make a decision, and be like, I am going to be the man who makes a better choice. I am going to be a man who builds the life I want. It comes back to how a guy getting, this seems to be the most common one recently, is, another guy telling us how we should live our life even though he has been gifted and blessed with everything. I'm not going to deny that my life is fucking epic. That I have so many blessings in my life. From my wife, to my children, to an incredible business, to a healthy and well-built physique, to all these kinds of things. But they weren't just dropped on me. They weren't bestowed upon me. They weren't just, here you go, on a silver platter. I made a decision and I created them. And I did the work. And, I have been here every step of the way, especially if we're talking physique and everything. Every single day for over 570 days, sharing that journey. I didn't just wake up one morning. I was like, here I am. Look at me in all my glory. No, I fucking did the work. Fell in love with the work. And I kept doing the work, even once I reached a point. And I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I kept doing it. Because we make a decision, but it's about the stories in our head. And the stories will always be there. It comes down to what you decide to do with those stories. I've reached a point where, let's be honest here, it'd be really easy to get comfortable. It'd be really easy to be like, I don't need to work that hard anymore. And that's a story for another day. There's a great podcast in that. But I could pull my foot off the accelerator. I could dial it back a little bit, or a lot, to be honest. But as I've said many times before, more dreams and more men's lives have been destroyed by the phrase good enough than I think anything else. I want to get to a point where I go good enough. Only stop when I get to done, next, Tim Grover style, finished, next. Don't stop. There is only forward progression or death. There is nothing in between. There is no maintenance. There is growth and decay. But you make those decisions. You get to choose. But you got to battle these stories in your head. You got to battle the resistance. You got to battle these narratives that will go around that will try to get you to settle, try to get you to stop, try to prevent you from doing the work that is necessary. There will always be stories. There will always be feelings. And I hate to tell you this, but most of the time, your feelings are lying to you. It's creating a narrative that makes it easier for you to bitch out, easier for you to avoid doing the things that are necessary. It's so much easier for you to put in these feelings. Oh, I'm too tired today. I don't feel like it today. Oh, I've got lots of things on today. I don't have the time, the money, the opportunities, the efforts. You're attaching feelings to things that shouldn't matter. That's why I think the greatest gift you can give yourself is discipline. A zero-choice mentality, because it removes the thought process. It removes the freedom to do it. It is the greatest gift that you could ever bestow. And it's not easy. I'm not claiming it's easy, but it's simpler. You don't get to have a choice anymore. You made the decision. And once the decision's made, it is done. And that's the end of the story. And you'll find, when you do it this way, you'll find when you give yourself no other option but to succeed, shockingly, you succeed. Shockingly, you see results beyond anything you've ever given. But you have to remove the opportunity for your feelings to dictate who you are. You have to remove the opportunity for your feelings to derail you. Because they will. They'll come in and they'll convince you to stop. You need to realize that those stories in your head are lies. And they are there to keep you comfortable. They are there to keep you sedated. They are there to keep you in ease. There's a reason why achieving great things is so rare. And especially in today's day and age. I think it's a David Goggins quote. He's like, never in human history has it been more easy to be an exceptional man. It comes back to my favorite quote. The bar is on the fucking floor. Because most people don't even want to do any work, let alone all the work. Most people don't even want to try, let alone commit with a zero-choice mentality. Most people won't ever get off the couch, let alone give it their all. You can change the history of your family. You can set a legacy. You can build something great. All you have to do is make that decision. You need to stop listening to the stories in your head and do the work that's necessary. You need to step up and make a decision to start demanding greatness.